Greetings everybody, my name is Tommy the Game Master and welcome to my channel. The game I'm going to be reviewing today will be a bit different, so is the way I'm going to be reviewing it. You see, the Stanley Parable is more of an experience than an actual game. It's a good one for the most part, but it's not built upon the gameplay, but rather making you think about how game designers design their games for certain actions, and making you think about what you're accomplishing in video games when you play them. It's very smart, it's very clever, it's not very long, however, but still, let's go look at this experience and see if it's worth purchasing or not. Yeah, you're not misreading that here. You see, this is going to be different with the way the story and the gameplay are because they're really interconnected here. Narrative-wise, it starts out with a simple backstory that you're going to be playing as a simple man named Stanley, whose job it is to follow orders on a computer screen and press buttons. This is kind of an analogy to what gamers do. We follow orders on the screen and press the corresponding buttons. Anyways, one day everyone at Stanley's workplace disappears, so Stanley sets off to investigate, being led by a mysterious narrator. Now here is what is interesting. If you follow the story the way it should be told and take the door on the left and just follow the directions, you set Stanley free from a mind control experience that his boss was doing on him. Now stop and think about that for a second. You're being set free from a mind control experiment by doing everything that a voice inside your head is telling you. That's not escaping from a mind control experiment, that is being mind controlled, and the game makes an effort for you to actually realize that irony. However, you don't have to follow the narrator's instructions. You can immediately part from the narration at the first door, and this is where the uniqueness of the Stanley Parable starts to take hold. There are multiple different endings depending on the choices you make. Going down the wrong path will eventually get you into a room with a telephone, and if you choose not to answer the phone, you get a funny PSA on choice, as well as annoy holy hell out of the narrator. But even getting to the phone, there are plenty of areas where you can even deviate from that and get different endings. Hell, you can even jump to your doom in one scenario, and I just love the narrator's reaction to it.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Anyways, with all the different endings, what are my two favorites? Well, I do believe I have seen most of them, but my two favorites are the one where you follow the narrator's orders until the last one and then disobey them. This sets up a timer that you think leads to an escape scene, only to have the doors keep closing. The game makes you think if you hit all these buttons in the set order that you'll be able to escape, but the narrator comes in and tells you it's all pointless and even adds more time to the timer just to add to your suffering as the inevitable comes.
You're in for quite a disappointment, but here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless, to see you made humble.
The second one is a little bit harder to get, but you can break the game and obliterate the fourth wall. It does weird things like gives you this bonus game where you're pressing this button repeatedly to stop the baby from crawling into a fire. I hear you can do this for 2 hours, you will get another ending. Do you know what this means, folks? In order to come by this knowledge, someone actually stood there pressing this button for 2 hours. It means there's someone out there that has less of a social life than I do. To this person, I say, get help. I should also note the game has a really funny sense of humor, poking fun of people who are achievement hunters and that do everything and anything to get these achievements. You see, there's a really easy to get achievement by its description. All you have to do is go up to the store and try to open it 5 times. The narrator bumps in, and in order to get the achievement, you gotta spend at least 5 minutes jumping through his hoops and running around in circles. Again, this game is about parroting and bringing light game narrative and game design, and this is an excellent way of doing it, as well as annoying the holy hell out of you.
Clicks into door number 417.
So is there anything bad to say? Well, a lot of these paths and ending are actually pretty short. For example, the ending with the PSA ad, well, technically the last choice you make is to unplug this phone. You see, after the phone is unplugged, then the PSA starts to play. Despite being criticized and even saying you now have choice, the game gives you even less choice until you get to the ending. It's a linear path after you make the choice to unplug the phone. Same thing with something called the confusion ending, which has you follow this yellow line everywhere. Your last real choice was done several minutes before. You're just being led around until you get to the ending. It's funny and the commentary is still surreal, but the game is pretty much stopped as far as what you're in control of. Also, there are only so many endings and choices, and with the game being about 10 minutes each playthrough, you'll see everything there is to see in about 2 or 3 hours. You will have seen everything you need to see in the Stanley Parable, and it's not anything really left to play after that. It's amusing, but beyond that, once you've seen all the endings, you're pretty much done. I don't think I'll have much of a problem getting the Do Not Play for 5 years achievement. Don't get me wrong, it's an interesting 3 or 4 hours, and it's something I'm glad I've experienced. It's just not one that I can see myself really returning to, and that is a shame. If you can find this game at a discount price, like on a Steam sale, definitely pick it up. It's definitely worth putting on your wish list so you will be notified when it goes on sale, but I really can't recommend it for $15, which is its full price. The graphics in this game have a deliberately dated feel. This is supposed to be a game where everything is out of place. For example, Stanley might notice something is a little off in his office considering how out of date these computers are. It's been 20 years since I have seen a computer with both a 5-inch and a 3.5-inch floppy drive. And for you kids out there, I'm not going to explain what those are. Google it. The graphics and the way the areas look, and even when Stanley appears on screen, looks more like something out of a PS2 era video game. So yeah, they're deliberately dated. The office and the furniture is all from the early 90s, and the looks of the games look like it comes from the early aughts, and it's done this way on purpose, and I kind of like it. There's not a lot of music in this game sound-wise, but we do get a narrator that talks constantly, and if we don't do what he says, he gets a little ticked off. But it's all in good fun and humor for the most part, although sometimes he does get a little creepy.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
Since it's not really a game I'm covering here, I'm not going to give it a rating. What it is a unique experience, and it's definitely worth trying out once. The only problem here is I don't really see it worth being $15. Here's why. As I said before, once you see all the things the Stanley Parable has to offer, there's no reason really to go back and see them again. It's a unique experience, and like I said, a really fun one while it lasts. If you're into game design, definitely want to pick this one up because it's got some really great commentary on how games are made. Anyways, I recommend for most other people, though, just merely putting this on your Steam wish list and picking it up next time you see it on sale. Anyways, this is Tommy the Game Master, thanking you for watching. Before you go, I would like to have you please subscribe to my channel. I do reviews like this all the time, and I would love to have you as a member of my community.